Yesterday's game finished a little closer probably than you would have liked. You looked like you're in control, but very tight finish.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the nature of our sport. It's a game of momentum. And, you know, you can have a 20-point lead in the third quarter and, 12 minutes later, by the middle of the fourth quarter, that lead could have been cut in half or even, cut totally. And that was the case a couple weeks ago when we played the Melbourne Tigers. But, you just fight, and hopefully you're able to come out on top.
Now, you've travelled, 1990 was it you came to Brisbane?
1990, yes.
And you've done Townsville Suns, I think it was, and you've played Newcastle as well.
Yeah.
And so you've been around the place. I mean, how has the appreciation of basketball, has it grown or has it sort of stagnated? What's the story there?
Well, I think if you start just basically on the playing level, the talent level has grown tremendously. I mean, the Australian players now are so good that really the import players serve basically roles as role players. They're not there to be the stars as much as they used to be, while there are still exceptions, most notably Willie Farley for the 36ers, who's definitely a star in this league. But I think that's the start. The product is very good. I think from a total spectator point of view, the league is very entertaining, and I think people who are coming out to the games, and that's an area where we are hurting at the moment. We're not getting the numbers we would like at the games.
Well, Rich couldn't get in yesterday.
Well, I know. Well, that's good to hear, actually, but I mean, I feel sorry for you that you couldn't.
That's really because it's a final, isn't it? I mean,
exactly.
Through the season, you do it pretty tough, don't you?
Exactly. We have done it tough, and that's been in Melbourne and Sydney. But in the regional centres, Adelaide, Townsville, Cairns, those places are booming. They're selling out. It's very hard to get a ticket in those locations. Mm-hmm. But in the capital cities, Melbourne, Sydney, it is very, very difficult to draw people.
As opposed to the capital city of Adelaide.
Adelaide won't be very happy.
I didn't know South Australia had a capital, but that's
yeah. Go that trash talk.
You've got an incredible home record this year. I think it's 17-2 or something like that. I mean, is there any fear going to Adelaide again that you can't take the crowd with them and you were beaten in that first game, or is it just nothing in the way?
Look, Peter, they're very good on their home court. Not only this season, but for as long as I've been playing the competition, Adelaide are very hard to beat in Adelaide. There are a number of reasons for that. Other than the 5 people that they have playing on their team, they have a couple other people that are helping out in the crowd and on the court. So,
cheating?
No one cheats. No,
they're throwing baskets.
So it'll be tough, but in your by your own standards, you didn't have, shall we say, an excellent game in the first game. You took a bit of responsibility for that. What was the difference for you between game 1 and game 2?
Have a look at some highlights while you're answering that question.
I mean, I didn't play well in game 1, and to say that I did play well would be just blatantly lying. I came back to Sydney. We got back Saturday afternoon. We met as a group, and I told the guys that I felt that it was my I was responsible for the loss, and if I picked up my play, we'd be in pretty good shape. And so I went into yesterday's game very determined to turn it around and to have a major impact on the game. And whether we won or lost, I just wanted to have a good crack at it.
Is that venue? Sorry, Liz. Is that the slaughterhouse or is that the pig pen? What's that one called?
I think Steve Carfino's just.
He's coined the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, he came up with that yesterday. I noticed that late last night. I watched the replay at 3 a.m. The adrenaline was still pumping.
How difficult has it been in Sydney? Because Sydney's been the really tough market for basketball, and everyone sort of has all the attention on the Kings. How does it feel for you guys in the west of Sydney, and really a young team on struggle street, in inverted commas, like to really come through and make a final? How good does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, it makes us feel great, and I think all along this path that we've been on, all along the journey, we've always been second fiddle to the Kings. There's no doubt about that. But in a sense, that's to be expected. They've been here for so long, and you have to earn your stripes. And I think we've gone through that process. And right now, I think all of that struggle has made us a more resilient group. I think as a unit, we're a lot more cohesive than say the Kings are. We believe in each other, and I think that's showing through by the way we play the game of basketball.
Liz?
How do you guys, we've talked about obviously the home crowd advantage in Adelaide and in Sydney. What are you guys going to do between now and next Friday night to make it different for the final game? How are you going to look at blocking out the home crowd that Adelaide will have?
Guns, I think.
Some of those nets.
Just start off by saying something about how you didn't know that there was a capital city in South Australia. See how that goes.
You want me to get started again? Yeah. Well, back to your question, Liz. I think.
Sorry. Someone on this panel listens to me.
I think our coach, Gordy McLeod, he came up with a very sound game plan. Going into game 1, we knew exactly what we wanted to do. But you know how it is in the heat of the battle. Sometimes it's not easy to actually execute it. And we didn't execute that plan. We were sloppy with the ball. Adelaide were able to get a lot of points off of...
Adelaide
Yeah.
scored 31 points off your turn.
They were pretty hopeless.
yeah.
Get you, stats girl.
Oh, no.
But what happens in the last minute, 2 minutes of the game, like yesterday, when it could have changed character there, you might well have lost the game. I mean, is everyone in a frenzy? Does the game plan go out the window?
Yeah, I think so. And I think what you see in the finals is when a team gets down, I think there's a natural inclination to abandon your game plan and just do whatever it takes to win. And I felt Adelaide did that in the second half yesterday, and they started to do a few plays. They started to take some chances. And right now, if you're down in a game, who cares? It's not like you're playing for a playoff spot anymore. You may as well have a go, and that's the danger, and that's one of the reasons why games turn so quickly at this stage of the season.
And I love the way that Bruce Bolden went to the free throw line, missed the two that would have got you away, and then Farley went down the other end, tried to miss, I think. We'll have a look at this.
Yeah.
He gets his first shot. No, that's the one he's trying to miss,
Yeah.
and actually gets it. That must have been fairly cool.
Well, their coach Phil Smythe found it pretty funny. But we could actually see Farley giving the little high sign to one of his teammates that he was going to try and shoot a brick, and then have the ball popped out to one of the shooters, and possibly they could capture the ball and knock down a shot and win the game. Fortunately, it didn't work out that way.
No, I think it was John Riley. I think he's basically summed it up perfectly in the post-match interview.
Definitely could have been our last game tonight, so you got to die wondering, and same thing Friday night.
You got to die wondering. There's a lot of noise going on.
I know what he was meaning. Come on, now, take it
He said
easy.
that West Sydney's like the red-headed stepchild of basketball in Sydney. Like, he's on fire with his quotes this week. going well.
Rebecca touched on it, but it must have been heartening to hear Phil Smythe say after the game that he never experienced a crowd like that in Sydney. So what Rebecca was saying about the support of the Razorbacks, I mean, to have an atmosphere like that, and that after not being invited to the lunch, after no MVP, after no Coach of the Year, I mean, that's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think when you look back, you just can't be impatient in sport. There's always
There's your table at the lunch, by the way.
Oh, really?
See it there. That's what you missed out on.
Yeah, the food looks a bit. It doesn't look like the food's
Ordinary,
really
doesn't
happening. Yeah.
Derek, must be the first time that, like the All-Star 5, Coach and MVP, none of them are involved in the finals. Surely that would have never happened before in the
Must be
history of
rigged.
the
Just a
NBL.
quick observation. It's very hard to answer a question on this
sorry.
show.
We'll take that on board and we'll use it for next week.
Actually, we don't even need you.
Which one do you want to go back to now?
Yeah, you're right though, Steve. I mean, all those guys are out of it, and but it's ironic because our team and the 36ers, we play very similar styles. Both teams have two guards who they rely on to do a lot of the offensive work, and two coaches who are friends, and I guess they were
They played
best
together.
men at wedding. I don't know what the whole story is there, but I saw them punching each other and stuff after the game. Well, I didn't know what that was.
Derek, how do you
so
plan to
nailed
lift
us.
the
I love it.
championship trophy if you win it? Like, isn't it 180 centimetres tall? It's only
Well-
6 foot tall, the championship trophy. Like, what do
What are
you
you trying
do?
to say,
Like,
Liz? You trying to say I'm short or what?
I was pleased to notice that I am taller than you.
No, I'm
Pocket
not.
rocket.
He's not that short. He's at least 6 foot, aren't you?
About 6'1", thanks.
Yeah. That rocks. What's wrong with that?
177, what's that?
But
Yeah,
again,
like,
back
I
to your
can't
question.
believe like you have a trophy that's 6 foot tall.
And it's
when the
heavy,
whole point of
apparently,
winning
too.
it is like to lift the
Well, I
trophy.
saw Andrew Vlahoff, who's fairly well built. I saw one year when he lifted it up, and I saw some veins popping out of his head. So that kind of signaled to me that I probably might have a little bit tough time picking that thing up.
Can I just get back to your point? Do you think I've lost control completely of this?
No, you're doing a great job. I
On-
think
on
you
that
might
note,
need
I'm
a hard man to come in here and just keep people in line.
I love it. Well, look, all the best for Friday.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, could you please thank Derek Rucker, ladies and gentlemen? You nailed it. You're so right. Last